Hey everybody, this is Austin Harvey Jonas. I'm hosting round one, part two of March Art Madness this year. And we have a lovely cast of folks today. Um, we are covering Saturday brunch and Saturday afternoon for March Art Madness. So, I am your humble, handsome host, but we have some lovely uh, commentators today. So, first off, let me pick on Christina. You want to introduce yourself to the folks?
Yeah, sure. So, hello everyone. I'm Christina, and I draw Grimheim for Saturday Brunch, which is a dark medieval fantasy epic. And I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome. We're happy to have you. Next up in Saturday Brunch, we do have Val.
Hello everyone. So nice to be here. I draw Otherworldly Travel Agency for Saturday Brunch.
Fantastic. And we have some afternoon folks for you. You should all know Monitor Comics or Michael.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Monitor Comics. I create Change the World in Saturday afternoon.
Awesome. And of course, we have the other Saturday afternoon creator, Nath Q.
Hey guys, I'm Nathaniel. I create Benedict Nick, the Phenomenal Brick, in Saturday afternoon.
Awesome. So great to have you guys here. I hope that you guys aren't falling asleep like it seems like Val is right now. Right, Val?
Every time I look down, my eyes shut. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'm just going to pick on everybody. So, I should mention that our sponsor for this is our Quarto Books publisher, and our graphic novels are coming out soon. So, be sure to check that out. We also have a How to Draw book, How to Draw a Diverse Manga, and you guys can start pre ordering them. And spoiler alert, there's some really cool cards that you can get with them. So if you're a TCG addict like me, you can do that. But I do have to give a special shout out to another person who is not part of any comic, um, I guess, vehicle in Saturday, is Jacqueline. You want to say any words, Jacqueline?
Hello, yeah. I'm Jackie, and I work in the social media department of Saturday AM. I help kind of coordinate things in the background, set up events such as this one. This year, I'm helping with March Art Madness along with Fred. So, hi guys, I'm back again.
And we are so happy to have you back because we can't do anything by ourselves without you.
Me neither.
All right. So I think without further ado, before I start talking nonsense, we should definitely go through the Saturday brunch round one entries. And the theme for this one is gender bent superheroes. So I am actually super excited to look over this um, because the first matchup is a absolute knockout. We obviously have a gender bent static shock. Um, you know, I think let's have Christina. How about you comment on this?
Yeah, for sure. So, first of all, this might be the worst theme for me because I have like no clue about superheroes. So I'm like, okay, who's that? But you already answered that, so that's good. So yeah, regarding the artwork, I think it's really well done. I really love the rendering of the clothes. Um, I think it's a very, a very simple pose, but it's still, I don't know, it has so much. It looks strangely dynamic, even though it's a fairly basic pose, and I think that's what I really like about it. Um, and I also really like the line work. The coloring looks good. Again, I didn't know the superhero, so I can't say if this is in character for the character, like if this is, uh, pretty standard for this character. But from what I'm seeing, based on the artwork alone, I'm really liking it.
I see. I chose the most perfect candidate to talk about this.
Yeah.
Uh, so to tic tac toe off what you said, I think what you said is kind of correct. It's there's a lot of emotion that comes with this pose, and I agree with that. There is like what you said. It is a very plain pose. I imagine static very dynamic. So I could see a little bit more dynamism, or would want a little bit more dynamism from a character like this. But like you said, very strong. Let us move on. We got two uh, entries right here from Eric Paducci from Brazil and Reducex from Canada. So let's go through the first one. And this is Hell Girl. Can we get, let's get Michael and Nathaniel. Why don't you guys talk about this?
Yeah, I can go first. I really love the composition here. I think it's really bold that they did the like Instagram square shape to contain everything. And the use of like the green color in the background and like the bright red colors in the foreground really help like separate like the subject from everything in the back. What's really interesting here is like their use of text. I feel like the Hell Forge in the back and the Hell Girl spelling. I think that all makes it look really cool.
Nice. Nathaniel, anything on this one?
Yeah, I would agree with the composition since it's kind of a square image. I like how everything's kind of centered, and the really cool looking snake character on the bottom kind of has like this spiral shape that brings your eye to the main character. And yeah, it's a cool image.
Awesome. Let's talk about the next one then. Their opponent. And I believe we have a gender bent All Might and a gender bent Endeavor.
Oh,
Michael, anything on this one?
who,
Oh,
what country are these artists from, and what was their name again?
we have Eric Perducci. I probably pronounced that wrong, from Brazil, and we have Reduce X from Canada.
Okay, cool.
Reduce X. Yeah.
You
So
sent me
sorry.
for this one, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I really like this. This is a really tough matchup. I really like the like semi-realism style going on here, and we got some really cool effects going on, like Endeavor's firepower. I like how there's like no line weight on that. It's like just like straight color. I think that looks really cool. I have a pet peeve. I'm not personally a fan of like when you do the duplication and then lower the opacity for the background. That's just me though. I know some people do like that look, but for me, it kind of feels like you were trying to like get out of drawing a background. But other than that, I really love the rendering of All Might and Endeavor. So I just wish I could see something like going on in the background, like rendered like this.
Awesome. Nathaniel, what about you?
Yeah, just building off of kind of what he said, I like the rendering as well. Maybe the like Instagram logo in the top corner is a little confusing to me. I don't really know why that's there, but other than that, I like the fire or the blast coming out of the top character's arm. That red color kind of contrasts the costumes of the other characters, and so yeah, great work.
I think I would have to agree with both of what you said, and just say that between these two pictures, it would be very tough to choose. Okay, matchup 3, we have coin_pa from the US and Ryan_rec from France. So why don't we have Jackie and Val talk about these two? Jackie, do you want to go first?
Sure. So this whole theme was a gender bend superhero, and this is supposed to be Iron Man, but as a girl. And I think the artist did a really good job of doing of gender bending the superhero. Um, the suit looks pretty much the same as Iron Man's. I can't tell if they changed it just a little bit, just for like the feminine version of it. And the black hair is like a nice touch. I can't remember if Tony Stark had black hair in the comics or if it was like a brown. I think it was like a brown, brown hair, but it doesn't really matter. I like how they're kind of floating, up high in the sky. I think that creates like a sense of like atmosphere. So, really awesome job. And, I enjoy it whenever an artist makes like use of the background. So it isn't like an empty background or a white background. So they get props from me.
Mm-hmm.
Really good job.
Oh, awesome. Val, any comment on this? Are you a Marvel fan?
I was gonna say I'm not a huge comic fan or superhero fan, but I can say things about the art. Um, I would say that the weird kind of like glow, I mean, I'm not gonna say weird, but the glow around the character themselves, I just, it doesn't feel like it's really doing it for me. It feels like the background was an afterthought.
Mm.
Like they drew the character's pose and then they added a background afterwards.
Yeah, very fair point. Yeah.
Yeah,
I will
I see
say,
that.
and I will comment that, a female Iron Man isn't exactly anything new. Um, if anything, this is more of a female Tony Stark that I felt like they were going for. But we've had, female Iron Men, Iron Heart before. So, um, just with that. And their opponent looks like we have for those who are not big on comic books or comic book movies, I'll say, it looks like we have a female Doctor Strange. So, Jackie, anything on this?
Yeah, I really like the lighting in this one, like how, her spell, just kind of lights up her face and how it's like all dark in the background. Like Val said, maybe the background was a little bit of an afterthought for like this one as well. But I think it matches kind of what's going on in the foreground, so I think they did a good job with that. I would say for artists and future rounds and stuff, you don't need to add the March Art Madness logo in your drawing, just for future reference. I know we've had people do it in the past before, but it kind of takes away from your art, so you don't need to have the logo in there. Same thing with like your signature. If your signature is like really big and the piece of art, it might kind of distract the piece. So, what we usually tell artists is like if you could have it like a small signature like in the corner of your art, that way your piece can like take up like the main image of the screen. That's probably what I would suggest. But I really like this piece. Um, great stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. I'll tic tac toe off what you said, Jackie, and don't put the March Art Madness logo there. That's what our design team's for. They need to do some work. We have them there. Don't take away from their craft, okay? And and that's just how tonight Raymond will behead me, and this is the last you'll ever see of me.
Raymond's gonna get you.
Uh, yeah, for sure. Val, what do you have to say about this?
I would say I really do like the way that the lighting, you can actually see that they paid attention to the light source. Though I wish that there was a little more attention to the rendering in the hands and the sleeves, especially since those are like, closer to the viewer when they look at the art piece itself.
Hmm. All right, awesome. Let's move on to matchup four. And this is actually pretty cool. I kind of like what they did here. But we have I'm gonna pronounce this really wrong. Bert Sowal underscore art from the Philippines and Lexi makes art underscore from the US. So let's go over this. Now this is more anime, so Christina, uh, let's have you talk about it, and let's go for Nathaniel. We'll bring you two up for these two.
Okay, so I still need your help. Who's that again? I know it's someone from One Punch Man, but I don't know the name.
This
Ooh,
is female Genos.
Genos.
Uh,
Okay, there we go.
yeah, all right.
So Genos, and yeah, so I I really like the hand in the foreground. I think this is very well rendered. I really like the coloring, the effects, the particles that come from the hand. I think this looks very cool. I do think the pose is a little bit stiff. Like I don't know how to say it, but it kind of I just don't really believe that this person is like flying or jumping or whatever. It looks more like she's standing and she's just lifting up like one leg. So I guess something about the legs bothers me a bit. And the background is decent, but it's not really giving me that much. I think all in all, the coloring looks great, and I really like the anime look of the character. Also, the cell shading. I think cell shading is a skill set you need to have, and this person really has it. But yeah, again, the pose is a bit lacking, I would say.
All right. Yeah, Nathaniel, you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I really like the colors as well. Uh, the blue and yellow. I kind of like the way those colors contrast, as well as kind of the white in there. Just kind of a personal preference there. I disagree a little bit on the pose. I can kind of see what you mean about like the staticness of the legs, but especially like the top half of the character's body looks really fun and dynamic, in my opinion. And yeah, I kind of like. I can see sort of the background being maybe a bit too simplistic for some people, but I also kind of like how we kind of get to focus on the character a lot while still getting an idea of the setting. Um, so yeah, I think it's a really cool piece overall. Yeah.
All right.
Can I jump in with this one?
Oh, of course, Michael.
Yeah, this one moved me to speak.
Oh.
I noticed the black border, and I felt like no one talked about that. But this really looks like a playing card design to me. So I was kind of cool with the design being like flat and the background being a whole different color. What I wanted to say though was about like creative risk, because like with some of these, like the Iron Man one and with this Genos one, I just feel like people are playing it a little safe sometimes with the designs. Like they gave Genos like a more defined chest and like longer hair and like rounder thighs, but they didn't really change the outfit too much from like the actual source material. So I would have liked to seen like a little bit more variation in some of these to try and, you know, do the gender bend version.
All right, interesting. Yeah, I wonder that trading card version. I wonder if that changes any perspectives. Okay, let's talk about this. And of course, Christina, you may not know who this is. You may,
I
but this
don't.
is
I'm so sorry.
it's all right. But this is what this is for. To ruin Christina's life until she reads comic books.
Yeah.
Um, we have we have a male Starfire,
Oh,
which yeah,
okay.
this is
Oh,
our
okay.
first
Wow. Okay.
gender bent female to male picture. So this is interesting.
Oh, wow.
Uh, yeah.
Okay. Well, now this changes my whole perception of this piece, I guess.
Mhm.
That's very cool, actually. Wow. Okay. Um, do you want to say something else, or can I just start?
Yeah, of course. Of
Okay,
course.
great. So I actually really like this piece. I really like the line art. I like the like black spots of the line art. I think that looks very, I don't know, American, American comic book like for some reason. Even though I don't read them, but it's still like has this vibe to me. I really love the coloring. I think the coloring is really strong here. The purple and the reddish and the greenish colors just work so well together. And I really like the pose. I think this looks way more dynamic than the other piece, in my opinion. Um, and in this case, I really like the background because this again looks like very much inspired like in an American comic book. So I can really, I really like that. And I really like the facial expression of the character. And I really thought it was a woman. So I'm like, oh, that's even cooler. I think I don't know
Yeah.
why, but uh, I just really like it, and I like the design. Even though again, I don't know how the original design looks, so it's a bit hard for me to judge on that part. But the art is good, so
And the objectivity is what we'll go
yeah.
for here. All right, Nathaniel, anything on that?
Yeah, for me, I think it's really tough between these two. I like both of their poses, especially I think this one is really dynamic and has a lot of personality to it. Um, I think there is, to me, there is like a quite a bit of empty space, and I think maybe in the composition there could have been like um, a few things done to like put more space towards a character and less to the background. But I think overall that's kind of a minor point because yeah, the pose is really cool. Even though I don't personally like the colors as much as I like the colors for the previous piece, I think the rendering is still done really well, and yeah, some really dynamic things happening in this image. So yeah.
For sure. I will agree with the point that Christina said that it like really does look like from an American comic perspective. So I think they really did a good job capturing that style. Um, you know, for the most part, what's really just bothering me about this piece in particular is like there's almost like a weakness in the foot. the front kicking foot that I see, and maybe that's just the way my eyes are, but it just feels like it's just bothering me. But other than that, I do really like this piece. Um, okay, moving on. We have matchup 5, and it's a complete knockout. Um, we have this piece from Peach Neal from the US. Uh, and it looks to be, I was going to say, I guess it's a gender bent Zatanna from DC Comics. Um, and I was wondering if it was the female, but it looks more male now that I look at it, and I can completely look at it because we have a bit of the 5 o'clock shadow going on. Jackie, do you want to speak about this one?
Yeah, sure. I think this. I love the colors. First of all, I think the blue and the reds in general, they're since they contrast each other a lot, they can be very hard to put together in a piece like this. So the artist did a really good job combining those two contrasting colors. I would say I was a little bit confused. I didn't quite know who the superhero was, but I've seen them before. And I know the character's supposed to be a female, so and you could tell that this character is more of male, but their cross dressing is like a female. So I was a little bit confused with that. I understand there might be some difficulty designing this character's costume because it's meant for a female character. So I could see how there could have been a little bit of a challenge with that, but I do appreciate the effort that the artist took with this. I like how everything is like sparkling. But yeah, I really like this piece. It was great.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. Like, the choices here, like, while at a first glance it is kind of confusing, there is just a lot of strong line work here, really good use of shading and coloring, um, and it's very strong. And I will say this is I guess our second female to male gender bent superhero, so this is pretty unique. Um, but moving on from there, we will move into matchup 6, where we have Implustration from Moali and Max Petrali from Italy. And it looks like we have At first, I was very confused because this is. I immediately thought Batwoman, and Batwoman is already a character. But I think this is like the Iron Man one. This is a Bruce Wayne as a female Batman. Um, so that is my interpretation of it. And next we have a Miles Morales as Spider-Man gender bent. So very interesting. But let's go talk about the Bruce Wayne gender bent Batman. At least that's my interpretation. But let's see if anybody else's. Val and Michael, because you were so excited to talk before. Val, do you want to speak on this?
Sure. Similar to Christina, I have very little knowledge on superheroes. So while I did know that there was such thing as like a Batwoman, I do think it's very interesting to take an existing character like Batman and make them gender bent, because again, I don't know anything about comics. I don't know if Batwoman is the same as Batman in terms of background or history, so I think it's very interesting to kind of flip Bruce Wayne on his head and make a gender bent version. But let me talk about the art. I'm going to get distracted. I really love that they rendered the background, that there's actual details in it. But then again, it does just kind of feel like, even though she looks like she's like floating, it feels like it wasn't fully thought out in terms of how they wanted to place Batwoman on the canvas. It kind of makes it feel not as dynamic as it could be. But I like the rendering overall.
Gotcha. And Michael, any thoughts on this piece?
Yeah, I actually really like this one. I think it's really bold of how they decided to crop this. They could have just shown the whole piece, but they decided to crop in a little bit, which is really cool. I think this is referencing one of the Batman comic covers. I might be mistaken, but this pose looks really familiar to me. So I think that's really cool that like they were paying homage to that. And similar to the Starfire piece, it's like really cool how they like kept like Western art style like techniques in here, like the fill blacks right here. and this like orange glow effect. It's like almost painterly. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this one.
Hmm. I can't help but agree, and I believe that you are right that this is one of the Batman covers that they tried to do, and it almost feels like the character is almost in motion, like it almost feels like it can jump out at you at any moment. But let's move on to our gender bent Miles Morales. Um, and please tell me, Val, that you have watched Into the Spider Verse. Uh,
Oh, yes.
okay,
Yes, I have. I have.
all right.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that kind of similar to what we just mentioned with the Batman. Um, Miles Morales is an existing character, so to gender bend an existing male character into someone female, I feel like is really it helps kind of like fight for your case with this. I love the rendering. I love the motion blur. I love the little refractions of light and the particles, the little rainbow bits in the corner. Everything about this piece, I feel like it's a complete piece. Even the way that they interpreted, I meant to say integrated their username handle.
Hmm.
All in all, it feels very complete.
Yeah. Oh man,
No
I didn't even
complaints.
notice that at first, but yeah. Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, I think this is beautifully rendered. I have another pet peeve. This is another hot take of the night, I think. But I think the motion blur is really cool, but I feel like sometimes artists can use it a little too much. So like this area with the window right by the shoe is kind of throwing me off a little bit. So like I think it'd be cool if like the whole leg of the character and the shoe was in full focus, and then maybe some of the further away buildings were blurred a little bit, but like the blurring's kind of throwing me off a little. But overall, I
Mhm.
really like this.
Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say, and or what you did say, and I kind of understand what they were trying to do with make it like feel like it's in motion. Um, like one thing that I can't help but think about is like how the mask is flying off, and I can't even like imagine a character just put on the Spider-Man mask. I think that would just be hilarious, and just have the hair that she has just just completely be flattened out with the Spider-Man mask. I think that would just be hilarious. But moving on, I actually between these two, the Batwoman and the female Miles Morales, it's a tough toss up for me. But I guess we'll get there when we get there. Um, okay, so interestingly enough, we have in matchup 7 we have Abraham09 from Puerto Rico, and MGKK underscore art from Alaria. Um, you know, I won't pick on you again, Christina, because these are two superheroes. Um, but let's do. Why don't we do Jackie and why don't we do Nathaniel? We have another gender bent Miles Morales, I believe, and we have a gender bent Thor. So let's go over these. Jackie, you want to go first?
Sweet, yeah. So, I think first off, I can't quite tell that it's a gender bend Spider-Man. I mean, I see the boobs a little bit, but it still looks like a male to me. But I mean, it's fine. Um, I really like the idea of him you know, coming up, like starting up from those skyscrapers and then coming down at us. I think that's like a very interesting perspective. I really like it, to be honest with you. And then um, the web that's shooting out, it looks like that's more of like an artistic choice because I think the webs are supposed to be white, but that was kind of like a cool idea to do to match all the yellows in the piece. um yeah, I like this. Maybe I would have liked to seen maybe a bit more definition with the character. um just a couple small things. I know this is supposed to be more of a like cartoony piece, but I can't help but get the feeling that they also wanted to try to put a more painterly look into it. So, it's kind of like a battle between, like a comic cell shade and like a painterly style. But, I think all in all they did a decent job with this piece. The composition I would say is probably the strongest point about this artwork in my opinion.
All right, yeah. Nathaniel, anything on that?
Yeah, I think I agree with a lot of that. I really like the color and the kind of the movement and like the energy of this drawing. I think that it just looks really cool um, in that way. And yeah, I think with the character, I really like the pose. I think it contributes to like the dynamic uh, composition, but I think especially with like the legs, um, it's a little bit hard to tell. Like I see the foreshortening of the hand, but it's just a little bit hard to like place that the legs are further back. They look like they're maybe closer than they should be, or something like that. It's kind of hard to pin down. But overall, I really like this image. I think that yeah, the yellow and the purple and the blue all look really nice together, and yeah.
Hmm. For me, yeah, there's a bit where the line art seems a little shaky to me, and the proportions seem a little off. But I do have to give points for the attempt at the pose, because that is not an easy pose to do. You should know because I draw stick figures for a living. Um, but that it is not easy to do a pose like that. That is almost JoJo level, if not JoJo level type of posing. Let's move on. Let's do female Thor. Jackie.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing with this piece, I I would say I would have really liked to seen a background with this piece, maybe like her like I don't I think Thor is able to fly, right? Like one of his powers, he's able to fly, or is that only
Yeah,
because of
it's
his
it's
hammer?
it depends on the comic book rendition. So he either just flies or he uses his hammer and just kind of like whisks away. So
Yeah.
whatever it is, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that from the Avengers movies. But yeah, I think I would have liked to see a background with this one for sure. However, I do like the design that they went for. I think this artist has a very interesting style. It honestly it reminds me a lot of your work, Nathaniel, with Benedict Nick, the Phenomenal Brick. Like, I think this artist's style is a lot like yours, which I really like it. I would say too, I probably would have just preferred the full body version and not the head in the corner. I think the head in the corner is a little bit of a distraction, but I think this is a pretty decent piece.
Oh, what do you got to say about that, Nathaniel?
Uh, yeah, I think that yeah, at first it definitely looks kind of simplistic with just the white background, and like most of these images are like full rendered illustrations, and this looks almost more like a character sheet kind of thing. But for what it is, I really agree that I like the style and I like the character. I like, um, even though maybe you want to talk about the composition of the second face there, I do like the emotion on it, and I like that we kind of get to see a close look at like this um, kind of new character, the female rendition of Thor, and yeah, overall I like the style and the personality in the piece. So yeah.
Can I
Hmm.
chime in for 1 sec with this? I feel like Christina wants to say something about this too. I really appreciate that they added like a huge back to this character. And instead of like making them really slender like the actual female Thor is in the comics, I just think it's really cool that we have a nice muscly woman depicted right here.
Oh damn, I didn't even notice that.
Based.
So you're right.
You
That's very cool. Yeah.
you guys are trying to derail my show.
Yes.
We are the hosts now.
No, I agree with all your points. And this is where things come to an end in the brunch saga. We have the last matchup for 8. We have Kuso09K from the UK, Trey zero underscore 0310 from Zimbabwe. Now, uh, I'm really trying to put my finger on this character because I, for the life of me, cannot think of who this gender bent character is. Um, and I almost want to say that it's from Chainsaw Man, but I'm not 100% sure. But
I thought it could have been Nick Fury, but I got Chainsaw Man vibes too.
Oh, you know
yeah.
what? I got a note. This artist sent me a note. It's supposed to be I believe an American comic book hero. He's a detective, but I forget what his name was.
Oh,
Let me see if I could look it up. I'll let you guys talk.
okay.
Are they
Well,
technically a superhero?
Yes.
ooh, that's a good
Yes.
question.
Because I looked it up.
Okay,
So I just have to find it. I'll chime in a second.
for sure. And then this one we have a female Daredevil. Uh, very interesting choice that they went with. But let's see. Michael and Val, why don't we try you two? Actually, I haven't picked on Christina yet. I don't think. Have I?
Go
Maybe.
off, Christina.
No, I just noticed. I don't know if you guys saw the note as well, but this call is going to end in like 8 minutes.
Oh, I
Yes.
do see
Just
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess we could
okay.
wrap this up and then do the
Okay.
Yeah.
next.
Yes, that sounds good. Okay, so do you want to talk? Do you want me to talk about this one or the other
Yeah.
one
Let's
with the
start with the
gun?
Daredevil one while Jackie
That's
tries to
Daredevil.
find.
Okay, there we
Yeah.
go. I have no idea. I suck. So yeah, um, I I like the coloring on this one. It's a very basic pose again, not much happening. She's just like standing there. Um, I'm not familiar very well with Daredevil. I saw Devil. Oh no, that's Devilman. Sorry. Okay, there we go. So Daredevil. I have no idea about this character, but I like the outfit. I think that's a very interesting outfit. Pretty daring, I would say. I like the coloring. I think this is well done. I like the muscles that you can see on her legs. But yeah, I wish the pose would have been more dynamic because this is again just her standing there, and this I guess it's too basic for me to work.
Fair enough. Michael, anything on this one?
Yeah, I really like the rendering here with like the paint like strokes used on the legs of the character, and I really like how the shoes turned out with the shading down there. Um, I feel like the background is kind of flat. I kind of wish they like would have like rendered it out more like the character. But overall, I think it's a really solid pose that conveys Daredevil well.
Yeah, fair enough. I was gonna say that like it wasn't too much of a drastic change in Daredevil's costume design until you get below the waist, and then you just it just looks like she can elephant stomp your skull uh, with with a simple step of her boot, and that's near frightening. But um, interesting choice in character design nonetheless. So I don't know, Jackie, if you were able to find out who this character is, but I'm gonna go off and say it almost looks like the character from Chainsaw Man to me. But if we have an actual character for this, then let me know.
Yes. Oops.
You're muted.
Yes. Sorry. So this character is supposed to be Pete Wisdom. And I'll show you guys a picture of this on my phone. I don't know if you could see him, but this
Oh,
it's supposed to be Pete Wisdom,
interesting.
and it's
Hot.
a gender bend version of that. So I don't know who the character is. I'm not familiar with it, but that's what the artist told me it was. So just thought you guys would know.
Okay,
I
awesome.
googled him. He can apparently throw energy from his fingers like blades.
Oh,
That's cool.
Okay.
nice.
Mm, I mean, that is cool. Val, you're gonna have to relax before I get my bonking stick.
What?
Um, I don't think that you got away with that comment, because you will not. Um, so let's get. Actually, you know what? Let's get Jackie and Val to. Or sorry, no, we already have our contestants. Sorry about that, everybody. Michael, Christina, go first. Talk about.
The hot man.
Yes.
The hot person. Sorry.
Where's my bonk
um,
stick? Uh,
well, yeah. So I I was confused about the hand. This is something that kind of still confuses me. I don't know how this person is holding the gun. I don't know if this is even possible the way they're doing it. So that's kind of tricky. I mean, it's a very, again, it's a basic pose. It's not really that much happening, so it looks kind of okay to me. I guess what I'm what I like and kind of dislike at the same time is the coloring and the shading, because I think the base colors look fine, but the shading looks a bit it's like they have two shades going on, a softer shade or like lighter shade, I guess, and a darker shade, and the darker shade looks kind of out of place. Um, for example, on the hair or on the hand, you can see that it looks very like misplaced for some reason. So this is
Mhm.
kind of bothering me to some degree. Um, and again, I don't know the character, so I don't know if this is something the character would, do or look like. I mean, they look pretty, bored, I guess. So if that's who the character is, then you accomplished that. Yeah. So overall, I would say it's a decent image. It's solid, but there's some parts that really kind of distract me, like the shading. So
For sure. And Michael, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I really like the coloring here. I think it's like reminiscent of like Webtoon style, with like the really dark black color versus like the skin color with like multiple layers. So that's really cool to me. Similar to the other piece, I'm not really a big fan of like duplicating the layer for the background. I think it would have been cool to see the background in their style. I do like the pose. Like I feel like it's like interesting for this artist's style. And I do like the like different line weights, like how they use like gray and white to like outline certain areas in the black clothing. But the call is going to end in like 2 minutes. So if you want to hear our votes about who we are voting for, please join us in 1 minute when the room resets.
Yep.
Good
Yeah.
segue.
That segue though.
So yeah, I know it was an awesome segue. Yeah. So Google Hangouts is kind of booty. It only allows, depending on who's setting up the meeting, it only allows us to be in here for a certain amount of time before it kicks us all out. So I already went ahead and made another room for everyone. I posted it in the Instagram chats. So if you guys go back, you guys can click the link and it'll take you to the new room. I'm going to keep this broadcasting. So everyone who's watching this, just wait like a minute and we're going to continue on where we left off. So yeah.
See you on the
See
other
you all in
side,
a
guys.
second.
Oh, sounds good. Start in just a minute. All right, let's get everyone in here. Thanks for waiting, everyone.
The YouTuber me came out in that last minute.
Oh, that segue was. Ooh.
I was
There
ready
we
to say
go.
something too. But you.
All right. Ding
But it was
dong.
me all along. Dio.
Dio.
All right, sweet. So yeah, let's get your screen
See,
back
I
up.
can kind of finish off with this. I do like the how it's like I like the composition is what I'm gonna say. I do like this like black rectangle around. It kind of reminds me like a playing card design like the other one, and I think it was a smart decision to have like this like weapon come out of it to like add a little bit of like pop to this. And I just have to say that their signature is really cool. Kuso, I like that.
All right. Yeah, I mean I have to agree with both of you. So I do agree with Christina about the gun. It kind of does look a little awkward, but weapons are hard. They are hard to do. But it's also interesting that they chose to do a character that is not very well known. So very risky move, but we'll see if that helps them. So I hope everybody got their popcorn and drinks from our little intermission that they just went on. But we will be going through each of our entries. I don't think we need to go over Chris Berg from Brazil's Static Shock. Kind of a no-brainer there. But let's go over the Hell Girl and Female Endeavor and All Might. Who are we voting for? Let's start with Christina. Let's do you.
yeah, so this was tough. Probably one of the hardest matches to me. But I go with Eric Pedrucci.
Oh, with Hell
I'm
Girl.
sorry.
So awesome. We got one for Hell Girl. Val, who do you got here?
As much as I sent for All Might and Endeavor, I have to go with Hell Girl.
Ooh, another one for Hell Girl. Nathaniel.
Hellgirl.
Oh, Michael.
Yeah, these are both beautiful, but what like it came down to for me was like the decisions for like the text and the composition. So I'm going Hellgirl.
All right. And Jackie.
Um, this one was a hard one for me, but I think I'd have to say Hellgirl, just because they put a lot in the background. Um, and
Mhm.
the other artist, it was just kind of like a copy and paste of the front characters, but as the background. So I'd probably have to say, Edric Pederucci has my vote.
Mhm. And I do really like the character designs for this one, but I have to agree with everybody here that there's just more going on. There was more put into this piece than the All Might and Endeavor one. So it seems like Hellgirl is very unanimous. Let's move on. Let's go to female Tony Stark versus female Doctor Strange. Uh, let's start with Nathaniel. What do you got here?
I'm gonna vote for Doctor Strange.
Oh, awesome. Val.
For me, this is a battle of dynamicism. I would have to go with Doctor Strange.
Ooh. Okay, two for Doctor Strange. Jackie.
I'm sorry. I guess I was supposed to represent Fred's votes. Um, did you ask me for my vote for the first one? Oh yeah, it was Korsberg versus the no
Nobody.
submission. Okay.
No show.
Well, I'm in luck because Fred voted for Edric Pederucci too. So I'm just from this point on, the votes are gonna be Fred's, not mine. So I totally just
Gotcha.
forgot I'm supposed to do Fred's votes. So for this matchup, Fred voted for Ryan Reck.
Oh, yep. So female Doctor Strange. Yeah.
Hmm.
So we got three for female Doctor Strange so far. Michael.
I'm gonna cause an upset. I'm going for
Ooh.
Coin. Mostly because I really like the rendering of this Iron Man costume and like this outfit. I think the background was the weakest element here, but I can see a lot of potential if they take some of these character elements and put it into their background.
Gotcha. Ooh, and Christina.
I go with Iron Man 2. Or Iron Woman, I guess.
Let's go.
Yay.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
it's too strong because guess what, everybody? I'm also voting for female Iron Man.
Let's go.
Nice.
Wow, it's a 3v3.
Nice.
That's pretty
Gotta
intense.
duke it out.
So now it's up to everyone in the public to
Yeah.
decide this.
Go vote now. SaturdayAM.com/March Art Madness.
What Val said.
Do that. Next up, we have our female Genos versus male Starfire. Okay, let's start with Jackie. Let's get Fred's input.
Sure. For this one, Fred voted for Bertzawal Art.
Ooh, he voted for female Genos. Okay, cool. Interesting. All right. Michael, what do you think about that?
I'm also going for female Genos.
Ooh. Okay, we got two. Christina.
I go with the other one. I go with Star something. Starfire.
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 Starfire. There we go.
You have
Yeah.
to watch.
About to
You have
get-
to watch Young Teen Titans, Christina. It's a great cartoon.
Yeah. I might.
She won't. Val, what do you got?
I have to go with female Genos, I guess. I see the potential for growth.
Ooh, female Genos. Yeah. Nathaniel.
Yeah, this one is close for me, but I would vote for female Genos as well.
Oh, darn. Okay. I'm gonna actually side with Christina on this one and go for male Starfire, because I just really enjoyed the comic style that they had going on with Starfire capturing it. So we got a 4-2 upset on this one. So awesome. All right. This one's pretty easy. Pitch Neil from US. Complete upset. Now, this one is probably going to be my most difficult. I can't remember the ones in afternoon, but this one in brunch is a complete toss up for me personally. But let's start off with Val. What do we do with you first?
Ah, I guess Miles Morales for me. I feel
Okay.
like that piece is the most complete.
All right,
They're
Max
both so
Petrelli.
hard to choose from, though.
Max Petrelli, yeah. Nathaniel.
Yeah, it's close, but I would go for the female Batman.
Ooh, 1-1. Michael.
I'd be happy with either of these winning, but I think I'm gonna have to go for the female Batman.
Nice, nice. Christina.
Yeah, I love both of them, but Batman.
Nice. Jackie.
So Fred voted for Max Peterli. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing. I just wanted to say I personally like Max Peterli. I think I like the story element of his piece.
Mhm.
I like how there's a story in there versus the Batman.
Mhm.
But the Batman it probably was rendered a little better. But that's just my opinion. But I love both of
Mhm.
them.
It's so tough, and we could probably debate this for hours
Yeah.
because it's a shame that two strong artists like this have to knock one of each other out like right now.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to tie this up and give it to a female Miles Morales myself, and it'll be a 3-3 between us.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's tough.
it's tough. It's not easy. It was not an easy one. These two artists can take pride in that.
Hmm.
Next up, we have another female Miles Morales and the female Thor. Let's do a Christina, you have so much knowledge here. Let's do this.
So I should go first.
Yes, of
So
course.
I vote for Spider-Man.
All right. Cool. Uh, Val.
For me, it's a matter of completion. Female Spider-Man.
Uh,
There's just more elements to the piece, even if it doesn't look completely rendered.
for sure. Jackie, can we get Fred's input?
Yes. Fred voted for. Oh, okay. Fred voted for MGKK art. So
Oh,
you guys get a vote down.
wow. Interesting. We're not getting fired later.
Oh, you know what?
Okay, Michael.
You
Oh,
know,
sorry. Go ahead, Jackie.
sorry, you know what? I just noticed Fred actually left a note for this one. He said the Spider-Man art was stronger, but they didn't follow the rules. So I don't know what he means by that. Maybe Fred thought that the Spider-Man was a male. Um,
Maybe the boobs didn't sell for him.
yeah,
Oh,
the boobs didn't stick out too much. They needed to be bigger.
Ah, okay.
oh, it wasn't as prominent.
Mm.
Well,
Was there more
that's
rules to this than
interesting.
I don't know? Yeah. I mean, with that in mind, I mean, yeah, an argument could be made: is this female enough? And if that's the case,
Mm.
Oh,
they
I have
definitely.
so much opinions on that.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
I was
say
gonna say
Christina could
don't.
probably get on
Yeah.
that.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna shut my mouth right now. I think
We don't
this
have
is.
we don't have a lawyer. Yeah, we don't have a lawyer with us tonight.
And now I do not want to have this conversation. Maybe perhaps later. Um, okay. Where were we? Nathaniel.
I think. Did I vote yet or not?
Oh, I can't remember. Oh, maybe Jackie interrupted you. Sorry. Go
All
ahead.
right, Nathaniel, you go first.
Okay, yeah. I'm actually gonna vote for female Thor. It's close for me, but yeah.
All right. So we got two, and then Michael, go ahead.
I'm gonna ride for this female Spider-Man solely because I think they made a bold decision doing that pose and that background, and I kind of want to see what other crazy ideas they do next.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I think I will give it to female Miles Morales as well. So let's Let's do that. So I think that's a 4-2, if I'm correct. And the last one, we got the name of the dude who is a girl that I already forget, and female Daredevil. Let's start with Nathaniel, actually.
I'm gonna go with Kuso 09.
Nice. Jackie, let's get Fred's input on here.
Yeah, so Fred said Fred voted for Kuso 09. However, he had a little bit of a caveat to that. He said it's tough as I don't know who the character is for Kuso 09. Um, is it a gender swap? If not, my vote will shift. Okay, so yes, this is a gender swap. So yeah, Fred's vote will be Kuso 09.
Gotcha. So Kuso 09. And I think, looking at the picture of the original character that we've seen, I think we can agree that it is a pretty obvious gender swap. Let's do Michael.
Kuso.
All right. Val.
Kuso.
Christina.
The other one, the female Daredevil. Was it Daredevil?
Oh, we got one for the Daredevil.
Ooh.
And I'm also Kuso. So 5-1. Sorry, Christina, I can't back you up this time.
No.
All right. And with that said, our votes aren't the final deciding factor. You guys get to vote.
Mhm.
That is Team Brunch done. A lot of strong entries there. But without further ado, we get to move on from Val and Christina's domain and go into Nathaniel and Michael's domain in Team Afternoon. And our theme is mythological creatures. And I'm actually really excited to see all of the stuff here. So, without further ado, let us dive in. And I picked it out because you know why? Because we're underwater. Dive in.
I saw that.
If I wasn't canceled before, I'm canceled now.
That's why you're the writer of Better Off Ignorant.
That's right. So don't think about things. Anyway. All right, we have two beautiful art pieces. Milano_arts US from the US, and we have what seems to be the Kraken versus, I believe, an underwater dragon.
I thought it was a Leviathan.
Leviathan. That's probably better. I almost wanted to call it Alagiacris from Monster Hunter because it's similar, but I feel like I'm the only one who plays Monster Hunter, so whatever. And of course, we have the maid from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, which is an interesting choice that they chose to choose this as their mythological creature, because I guess a dragon is a mythological creature, but they chose to specifically go with the Dragon Maid for this. So let's get some thoughts here. Let's do Val and Michael. Let's see. Val, do you want to speak a little bit on our little underwater battle?
Sure. So this one is kind of interesting to talk about because you can tell to draw something that they don't normally draw. And I feel like it pays off for this one. I really love that you can feel the atmosphere of the water. I really love the way that they kind of finished off the rendering with this kind of like soft, like granular kind of filter on the drawing itself. I feel like overall it makes it really successful. Mm-hmm. Though I wish I could see a little more detail in the actual like creatures themselves.
Fair enough. Yeah. Michael, what do you think?
I just got to point out this whale that's just chilling right in the middle in the back while this like battle's going on.
Nope, not today.
Yeah, it's like, oh, they're not coming for me this time. But yeah, I really like the designs of both of these creatures. Like Val said, I think there could be a little bit more texture on them. The thing that's like bothering me though is how peaceful like this atmosphere looks with like the light coming in from the water and like it's like still water. So I feel like maybe some like effects or like chaos like bubbles or like waves bursting around could have made this feel a little bit more dynamic and bring the piece together.
That's very fair, yeah. And you know, I draw stick figures, so I wouldn't know anything about drawing current, let alone things in motion of this nature. But I can say that monsters in general are very difficult to draw. So if you have that skill of drawing animals and monsters, you're probably in a very good position in your art career. Um, or maybe you're not. What do I
Hmm.
know? But yeah, I agree with that. Let's move on. Let's move on to the Miss Kobayashi Dragon Maid. So, Val, what do you have to say about this?
I was gonna say, composition wise, I really like the piece. I just wish that it was rendered a little bit more. I mean, because like I know that art style is a thing, but even then, like there's line art in the back with the dragon tail, but then up at the front, it's rendered really loosely, but it doesn't feel like it's out of focus the way that you would render something loosely.
Interesting. Yeah. What about you, Michael?
I actually really like the rendering. I think like the really bold white lines is like really like impactful in the piece. And I do appreciate that they like kept Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid like in the background and like we can't really see her face, just the light. So like it is focusing on the aspect that it's about the dragon. In this case, I think that's really interesting.
Hmm. It is an interesting choice that they went with Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid because I guess if she wasn't in the picture, you would just think that this was a normal dragon. Maybe hardcore fans would be able to tell from the horns, but I guess the creator really wanted to sell that this piece was the dragon from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. So having both characters in the forefront, um, you know, was the selling point for their choice. Okay, so awesome. Let's move on. Um, okay, I really need to think about this one. I feel like they're from a video game, but somebody can correct me. Uh, I believe it's the QB or Nine-Tailed Fox.
It looks like a kitsune,
Or Kitsune. Oh, yeah, you might be
like the
right. Yeah.
fox spirit. I think it's what the Naruto thing's based on.
Yeah, and then QB as well from Naruto over here. It's funny how we have two fox things facing up against each other. I don't know if that's intentional. But then we also have Sukuna, which he is a demon, but I'm not sure if I would classify him as a mythological creature. And now we get into the debate of definitions. But
Um,
yeah,
no, I
Chris,
think he is based on a mythological creature actually.
is
I do
he?
think he's based on on Japanese mythology, but I'm not too sure. But I believe so. I mean, the name Ryomen Sukuna is actually, I believe, based on Japanese folklore, if
Oh,
I'm not
interesting.
Yeah,
mistaken.
I feel like
Yeah.
there's also the argument that maybe it's the mythology in this anime. Like the Nine-Tailed Fox is a part of the
Yeah,
mythology of
Mhm.
Naruto.
and I was actually curious about that. Like, is that still in the rules? Like,
Mm,
mythology based on an anime? Is that a thing?
I mean, I guess technically by definition, any story is mythology. Um, but we will not debate semantics.
Okay.
We will, since Christina, you spoke up, it's fantastic
Yeah.
of you that you want to talk about this.
Yeah, I
And,
actually want to. So
okay, fantastic. And then we'll get
cool.
Jackie. Jackie, you can get in on this as well. So let's talk
Oh,
about the Kitsune.
Yeah.
oh no.
Sure. So I think this matchup first of all is pretty cool because again what you said, we have basically the nine-tailed fox in both artworks. I do believe that this one is supposed to be the nine-tailed fox or the
Hmm.
kitsune, as Michael said. So I really like the coloring in this one. I think it looks so vibrant and beautiful. um, and I really like the rendering of the clothes. I think this is very well done. Again, I don't know if the kitsune is a female character originally or it's a male or whatever, but anyways, it looks very cool. So I really like how the artist, came up with the design for this character. Um, and I would also like to say that this kind of tells a story as well, I believe, because we can see a person in the foreground who's like scared, I guess, or overwhelmed by the goddess.
Hmm.
And I would like to know more about this because he appears to have a scar on his shoulder. So this is pretty cool. And I really like when artists do stuff like that, like not just giving you a simple image, but telling a story with your artwork. And I think that's done very well here.
Hmm. Jackie, what do you have to say?
Well, I was gonna say, oh no, because both of these pieces are really good. um, oh no. But I want to say this piece, the Kitsune character, I don't know if that it's from a particular anime per se. It kind of reminds me of like a character from Ganex, like when you see those ads and like some of them are like a Kitsune character. But I
Mm,
really love the colors and like the story that this piece has. Story is a huge thing for me. So if you're gonna put a lot into the background and then have things kind of swirling around the main character, like I love that. um but yeah, the rendering is really great. I could tell that they worked hard on this piece, so awesome job. um yeah.
yeah, okay. And I agree. I think it's interesting that uh they both kind of chose to maybe choose existing character. I don't know if this is an original character designed by It's Nothing Personal. Um, but it's it feels like a video game design to me.
Mm.
But moving on, we'll move on to Sun Chapo from the US, uh, with the Nine-Tailed Fox from Naruto and Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen. Christina.
Yeah, so I think this is a perfect matchup with these characters because I know a lot of people who are saying that basically Sukuna is like Jujutsu Kaisen's version of the QB, which is not quite correct, I would say, because they're still very different. But I still like the idea behind these two characters actually meeting and fighting. I think this would be very cool. So I'm giving a lot of props to the artist for this idea. I think that's very
Hmm.
cool. Um, I like the coloring here. I think it's interesting that they chose like this purple color, even though I don't know if the background. I mean, the background looks fine, I guess, but the flowers on the ground looks a bit. It's interesting to choose flowers with Sukuna and the nine-tailed fox, and I think it's. Uh, I don't know. Something is a little bit bothering me. I don't know why, or I don't know what exactly, but it looks like maybe the perspective. I guess the perspective is a bit off. Maybe the nine-tailed fox looks a bit too small compared to Sukuna, especially his hand. Or again, maybe that's just the perspective, and I'm just not seeing it right. But this is kind of bugging me a little bit. But I really like the rendering of Sukuna. Actually, I like how the artist did the muscles on the arm,
Hmm.
even though again I think the hands are a little bit bothering me, but otherwise it looks pretty cool, a pretty good piece.
All right, yeah. Jackie, do you have anything to add on to that?
Yeah. I like the flowers. I think it's kind of an interesting element, since, given that they're both about to fight each other, and then you kind of have this layer of beauty in the whole piece. Like you have the trees in the background and stuff, and the beautiful clouds over there. Or it could be smoke, like fire from a smoke. Who knows? If that's natural or if that's artificial. But I like that idea. I do agree with Christina though. Like some pieces of this piece don't look like they're fully rendered. Like there's little spots of sunlight. Like there's a couple spots near his hand where you can see like the sun coming out. Now I think that's supposed to be dirt, or it could be like rocks. You can't quite tell what it is, but those little rays of light, like I feel like maybe if there was a little bit of rendering in there, we could tell what it is. But I like the intensity of this whole piece. I think it was really well done. So great job.
Yeah, and thank you both of you. Beautiful commentary. Beautiful. All right. Let us move on now to Abba underscore dog from Brazil and Ferro point draws from Argentina. Now, I believe our matchup is. I gotta be honest, I do not know the mythological creature here, but I believe, and somebody can correct me, it is seemingly Medusa, um, or one of her Gorgon sisters.
Uh,
not every Gorgon looks the same.
I was gonna say
But
I'm not sure if Jackie has any notes, but the first two look like the main two characters from Good Omens, who are an angel and a demon.
uh,
But
you
I'm
know,
not 100% sure.
I
I
believe. Oh, sorry.
go
Um,
go ahead, Christina.
I would just want to say I believe she's correct. I believe Val's correct because if you like click on the picture, you can actually see that I don't know. It says like good omen. um,
No,
Let's go. I know things.
yeah,
it does say good omens. I'm
you get a cookie from me because
Yeah.
that's very cool. Very well done.
okay. Well, I think Val, you can speak on these two, and we'll have Nathaniel join you as well because he's raring to go. So,
I actually don't know anything about the show. I just knew that they're angel and demons. Um, but I think that the fact that I just happen to know kind of Doc's points against them, because without that prior knowledge, we wouldn't be aware that they are angel and demon. Like this
mhm,
could just look like a simple domestic illustration of two characters without any kind of knowledge. Um, but I'll focus on the art and not get into that tangent. Uh, I feel like the rendering is nice. I feel like you can feel the atmosphere in the piece. I just wish that it was the rendering was a little tighter. I feel like it's a little too loose on the people.
mhm. Nathaniel, what do you have to say?
Yeah, just talking about the art, I think it obviously looks really nice. The kind of unity of the warm colors, and a lot of detail, especially in the foreground, to kind of bring like an element of like a lived-in world and kind of storytelling element. Like there's like a camera on the side, and that kind of makes me curious. Like, kind of who are these people? What's going on? Um, yeah, I think like I have a few like slight nitpicks with kind of the shape of like the character's arms, and I think um, when I first looked at this, I wasn't sure what the angel character, what was happening with her shoulder and arm. And, she's holding a coffee cup, but at first it kind of confused me. I thought it was like a table in the background. I'm not sure. That kind of confused me, but other than that, yeah, it's really kind of got some character and storytelling to it. So yeah, good job.
Could I say
Yeah, and
something?
one thing I will say, of course, you're probably going to say what I was going to say, but yeah, go
Uh,
ahead.
so I looked it up, and yeah, this piece is from Good Omens. Not familiar with the show, so you guys said that these two characters are technically mythological creatures.
Yeah, one
uh,
dude's an angel, one dude's a demon.
it's
Okay.
technical, but like
Yeah.
let's be honest here. The challenge here is to draw a mythological creature,
Yeah.
and there's nothing mythological here.
Yeah.
Like if I ask for an apple and you come back with a beautiful picture of an orange, it's a beautiful picture. It's still not the apple I asked for, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
um
because I feel like intention, like out of everything, they picked like a humanoid
They could
mythological
even
creature. I don't know.
drawn they could even drawn them in their angel and their demon form.
exactly,
I
and we
think
would have been more inclined to be like, okay, yeah,
I think this was
good.
partly an issue in Team Saturday PM because the theme was anime aliens, and I know a lot of people wanted to put humans in their art, and it's like, okay, that's fine, but we want the alien. We want something that
Yeah.
looks different. Everyone could draw a human. The
Yeah.
part of this challenge was to draw something out of your element. Drawing a mythological creature or drawing an alien that's supposed to be out of the realm of what people normally would draw. So, I mean, on technicality,
hmm
yeah, we would count it, but just just something to note on for next time, I guess. But that's all I wanted to say.
hmm All right, let's move on to the next one. And I actually really like this one. It has like this simplistic kind of style to it, but I'll let Val speak on it first.
It gives me the sort of vibe that you get from like gotcha games where
I was
it's like
thinking the same thing.
yes where it's like it's rendered, but it's not necessarily meant to be in a full composition. Um,
hmm
and I feel like if it's done a certain way, it works, and I feel like it works with this specific illustration.
for sure. Nathaniel, anything on here?
Yeah, I really like the composition of the piece. I like how the rocks kind of like lead your eye up, but then the character leads your eye down, and it kind of has like a kind of dynamism that way. Um, yeah, overall, I like the line work and the kind of the energy of the hair and everything. The only um, constructive criticism I would have, or like feedback that way, would kind of be the gray. I know there are rocks, but I kind of like the gray at the bottom of the piece that has like the yellow shine on it. Whereas
Mm,
for me personally, the gray at the top just kind of looks bland in comparison to the other colors, which are really nice. So yeah, other than that, really cool piece though. So
yeah.
yeah,
It's interesting because I really do like the way that they did the snakes here. It's so simplistic, but like there's no way that we could expect somebody to draw like thousands of snakes on somebody's head. So it's a really cool style decision that they made. And there's just something about her arm bracelet here that I really like the choice of character design here. Now, given maybe this is a character design that already exists and they they took it from a video game, like maybe it is from a gotcha game that I don't know about, um and if it is, I don't know it, but um bearing that in mind, I think this is actually really cool, if this is a completely new character design that this person made. So let's move on. We have Antony Marpekin from Brazil, and Curls for Brains. Um, me too. Me too. Curls for Brains. Um, we have I. It's almost like a Gorgon character. I can't fully tell, but I feel like this is another Gorgon character. And ooh, we have a bunch of mythological creatures here, like satyrs, and I have no idea if that's from an anime or anything, but that looks cool.
It's a
Uh,
seraph.
Seraph?
It's a seraph. It's just a type of creature. It's not specifically from anything.
Okay, that's cool. I will note that underneath here for our Gorgon picture, it says not finished. So uh, do that as you will. But let's do Michael and Jackie. Michael, what do you have to say about our little Gorgon piece?
I think it had potential. I really like the texture on the tail of like the purple area of the snake. I like the gradient from dark to like pure white. I think that's cool. Um, yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I think the composition is really cool about how much space it takes up, but I can't really get over the fact that it's not finished. So I can't really critique it as well as I would like to.
Fair enough. Jackie?
Yeah, so there's a little story behind these two pieces. So this piece specifically, the artist had messaged me saying that they wouldn't have enough time to finish this piece because they're just busy, and I told them, I'm like, hey, look, just submit what you got. I said your opponent hasn't submitted yet. There's a chance your opponent's not going to submit. So if you have something, you can make it to the next round. So he submitted it, and I give him props for doing that. What was kind of funny was his opponent. She turned her work in like the very last minute of the deadline, the last minute, literally. And I didn't think she was gonna submit, but she did. So unfortunately, he could have won. He was so close. He was so close, but I do appreciate the effort that he put in. He did put in. I would have liked to seen it finished. Um, he was saying that the tentacle hairs were the snakes were taking up a lot of time. But yeah, for what it is, I think it's solid. But I just would have liked to see it. I think completely finished.
And that's partly the struggle with this competition too, is time management. We're not just testing how good your art looks and how well you can follow rules. It's you're on a clock, and how well you can work under the pressure of that clock.
Hmm.
Um, but going to what you were saying, Jackie, I can see why a piece like this would take until the very last minute. Yeah, Michael, you want to say a little bit about this?
Yeah, this piece is amazing. I think it's one of my favorites from the night. I really like how there's a story going on with this character in the foreground, and then all these other background characters. I really like the decision to like not draw them as detailed as you move forward, and then at a certain point we get like characters who are just red shapes. I think that's really cool. This whole thing going on in the back is really interesting, and I like the really like the glow effect that's like drawing our eye to it. See, I think this is actually I don't really have much to say about this. I really like the style, the scratchiness of it. My only like suggestion or like question would be I've seen a lot of people drawing like their images in the square format, and I don't know if they thought that was a requirement or not, or if the website just cropped it. But I
It's
would
a
like to see what this
requirement.
would look like if it was like a full. It's a requirement to draw it in the square format. Okay,
Yeah.
because I would like to see what was going on if it was like extended out. But yeah, if that's a requirement, then ignore me.
No, you're fine.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's only because
Jackie.
on the website we have certain size constraints. So if people are making like these huge horizontal images or these huge tall images, it's just not going to look nice on the website. We have to keep everything more or less the same size. So I think what we're going to do for round 2 is we're going to have everything the same size. So we had two options for this round. You could either do a portrait or a square, but I think for round 2 we're all gonna have it. We're gonna have it either the portrait or the square, and that'll be it. Like you have to do that. It's just the way
Makes
things.
sense.
Yeah, it's just the way things are. In real life, when you're doing commissions or you're working for a company, they're gonna give you constraints. They're gonna give you size limits and all of that. So, this whole competition is supposed to be kind of uh, um, representation of what happens in the actual art industry. When you're given a job and you have to work under certain limitations. That's just how the world works, and we wanted to see what you guys would be able to do within these constraints. I would say I really appreciate the how the artist made all of the characters mythological creatures. That took a lot of effort. Um, and I think because of that whole story that this artist set up, and how detailed they got with it, I think this is probably one of the best pieces that we have for round 1, in my opinion. So if the artist can keep up this level of effort and work, I think they will make it pretty far in this competition. So good job,
For
good,
sure.
very good stuff.
I'm sure they learned their lesson about taking on a piece like this when they only had a week to do it.
Uh, well,
So maybe
technically it was
they'll
like
try to be
five
a little
days.
bit more.
Technically
Oh,
it was
five
more like
days. That's even.
yeah, it was more like 5 days, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, no worries. I was gonna say that's even more impressive. So I'm sure that this contestant is probably going to be a little bit more conservative with their art choices from here on out if they want to go far, which they probably can. Um, and to your point, Jackie, yeah, like we need to limit the amount of memory going on this site because if we accidentally crash and destroy Mitch's beautiful hard work, who gets blamed? Me. No, not for any particular reason, but it just comes back to me. So let's move on. Uh, Okay, so this reminds me of something from The Witcher, and for the life of me, I cannot remember it. But this piece is by Priyanaka underscore Lodhi underscore 01 from India, and I believe we have the vermilion bird or uh, the
Phoenix.
phoenix. Yeah, Phoenix. Okay,
Mhm.
and this is by RBN underscore art 04 from Mexico. Um, so let's do Christina and Nathaniel for this one. So you know, Christina, any thoughts on this? I feel like this is like right up your alley.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, it is actually. I really like this. I have no idea who exactly this is supposed to be. I was just like, okay, this is death, so I go with that. Um, it looks very cool. I think it's always tricky to do rendering with just dark colors, and I think this is done pretty well here. Uh, I like the design of the creature. Um, looks creepy enough for me. I really like how they rendered the bones. And I'm not too sure though. The lights and the skulls, they do look kind of cool, I guess. at the same time, uh, I can't really tell you why, but it's kind of a little bit bothering. Like it bothers me a little bit. I don't know why exactly, but it's just kind of feels misplaced for some reason. Um, Even though I still like this piece a lot, and I think the background, even though it's very simple, it works. Like this whole piece just works together pretty well. Even though again, the skulls are a bit, I don't know, crazy, but still very cool image.
All right, Nathaniel.
Yeah, I can definitely see what you mean about the skulls kind of looking a little jarring, especially the yellow green one in the bottom right. However, when I first looked at it, I kind of liked how the different colors kind of um, gave my eye something else to look at, like because most of the image is really dark and purple, and kind of having like little hints of color to break that up kind of seemed interesting to me. I guess you could say maybe distracts from the main character a little bit. Um, but yeah, other than that, it just kind of has a really cool dark mood going on, and yeah, it's interesting how even though those colors are kind of like bright and vibrant, it still kind of has like the mood of like a dark forest, and yeah, so I really like this one.
Awesome. And we'll move on to our Phoenix. Definitely an interesting design. Christina.
I agree that it's a very cool design, even though for a phoenix, I guess I would have loved for this bird to have more flames. um, because it looks very, like a normal bird, and that's all cool. He looks beautiful. It's a cute bird, but like give them give it a little bit more flames, I guess, because I think um, this would have given this image a lot more impact. I'm also a little bit not too sure what to make out of the pose of the bird. Like he looks kind of stiff, and I guess I don't know if it's trying to look back at the human or if it's just trying to fly away. Um, so this is a little bit weird, uh, but I really like it. I like how the artist has not really like they don't use black line art, which is always interesting to me. um, you can see that also in the background and on the ground with the rocks and stuff. So yeah, I think this is a very cool matchup because again, the first one is so dark, and this is like literally the opposite. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, I can definitely see what you mean. It looks very real. What about you, Nathaniel?
Yeah, I really like this one too. I think that like to me the a lot of the background is like a little bit of a weaker element for me. However, what I think is really cool is the human character in the bottom right, who I don't know if he's like summoning the phoenix or what's happening there. But I think there's like a really cool like difference in scale going on there, and I think that um, there's like even like a bit of a storytelling element there. Even if the scale was like pushed even more, or like some kind of more dynamic way to show that, I think that would have been cool. Just because, yeah, I sort of agree the stiff, sorry, the pose of the bird looks a little stiff. But yeah, other than that, there's some really cool color, and some really cool things going on. So yeah.
No, I have to really agree with to that point, and to something that I didn't even really think about until you said it was the scale, like the use of the human here is to really like give um, some size to this bird. Um, it really like just gives the idea of like just how monstrous this thing can be in size. Okay, yeah, let's move on. Um, we have Peter Draws from the UK, and we have XVIICPRC from Chile. We have another Phoenix and another Medusa. So let's go over. Let's have ourselves. Um, Val and Michael, let's get you guys going here. Val, you want to speak on this one?
Sure. Uh, First things first, I really want to make note that I really enjoy the effects. You can really feel that the phoenix is on fire. That there's, uh, it's not just inherently feathers. Now, I wish that could have been pushed a little further, like kind of like have that glow of the flame. Um, I feel like maybe the background itself could have been rendered a little more cleanly, but overall, I really enjoy this piece.
Awesome. What about you, Michael?
Yeah, I didn't even look too like closely at the background. Like just at first glance, I thought it was doing the job I needed to do because like my eye was just drawn right to the phoenix. So I think they did a good job with that, like with the colors and the dark like contrast that it just draws your eyes to what you're supposed to be looking at. And I think that like the wind in the background sky is really cool. And really cool use of colors like this blue and pink to like complement the flames. My only critique is I think this phoenix would be its own light source, so the lighting might not be like blue in the background. I feel like it'd be more like orange or red.
Yeah,
So I think this works like compositionally to like separate it from the background. But I think like, it'd be cool to see like a variant where the light source impacted the environment.
Yeah, okay, so very good point. There is something that I did want to say about this piece, because I really can't shake the feeling that I've seen this pose from a phoenix before. Now, this could just be me because I guess I've looked at many phoenixes, but I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Um,
True.
and this very much looks like a pose. Not so much the phoenix design, I'll say, but the pose itself feels like it is something from like the Winged Dragon of Ra, or possibly Dronzer from Beyblade. There's just something here that I feel like the pose has been used before, and that just seemed pretty obvious to me. Not to say that it's easy to draw animals, and you definitely do need to find references, but um, I don't know if I'm the only one who feels that way, but
Mm.
uh, if you've seen this pose from a phoenix before, I guess let us know.
I
I see what you're saying. It kind of reminds me of that Digimon, the bird one. That's a phoenix.
Oh, you might be right. Yeah, Phoenixmon, or uh, it is literally named Phoenixmon, isn't it?
gosh.
But yeah, I mean, I'll leave it at that. But it definitely does look like a familiar pose to me.
I
Birdramon was the name. Phoenixmon is its evolution.
Oh, Birdramon. Yeah, you might be right.
I feel like because it's a bird. Oh shoot, we gotta change rooms again in about 10 minutes. Um, it's fine. I can make a new room for you guys to jump on. I feel like because it's a bird, there's not a whole lot of poses you can do with birds. It's like they have the wings. It's either the wings are up or they're down, or they're behind, or they're this way, like they're soaring in the sky. So
Hmm.
I feel like
That's like a
it's not like a human. A human can do so many different poses. With an animal, because they're limited in what they could do, there's only so much you could do. So I mean, I've seen phoenixes doing that pose. I've seen tons of phoenixes doing that pose. So that's just me anyway.
Fair enough. Let's move on to our next Medusa. Val, what do you have to say about this one?
I feel like the pose is fun and that her expression is nice. But there's not enough variation for me. It feels like a very flat piece in terms of separating the character from the background. And I feel like
Gotcha.
there's just some slight issues I have with the rendering of like the gold. But I like the rendering of the fabric and the scales. I'll say that.
Mm. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I agree. Michael.
Yeah, just piggybacking off of what Val said. I do like the scale rendering, and I think the dress, like the velvet, I think that the material of dress, was done well in this piece. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really much to say.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. It's very silky. It almost feels like it can actually reach out and grab it. They did a really good job with that. Um, all right, cool. Well, we're almost done with this round, so hopefully we can get it going. We have Hector underscore the artist from the US, and we have Kayla underscore Danis underscore art from Canada. Now, I believe we have the Sphinx. You can correct me. It doesn't look like a traditional Sphinx that I know of, but it does seem very Egyptian, and you can see the pyramids there. And we have, I believe, the Kitsune again, but this time uh, in full fox form. So let's do Jackie and Christina.
Actually, do you think you could choose someone else? I'm trying to set up another room for us right now.
Fantastic. That's fine. Nathaniel, you're up, buddy. Let's do. Yeah, you can go first for this Sphinxy.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that kind of already what you said, that this kind of looks like a really, I mean, unless it is a character for something that I don't know about, it kind of looks like a unique take on the Sphinx. I like the blue colors and all the rest of that, how it contrasts the sand, and yeah, just overall really cool. If I had to offer some criticism, maybe the shadows of the pyramid and kind of the bottom of the image, they are really black, and I think just maybe this is preference, but I think generally, like, I think it's cooler for there to be like a little bit of color in the shadows. But other than that, it does look really cool. So yeah.
Awesome. Christina?
Yeah, I would agree on that. When I first looked at it, I was kind of bothered by the background. I thought it looked like 3D rendered, but now that I look at it, it looks fine. It works pretty well with the piece, and I actually really like the rendering of the creature. I think it looks fairly unsettling and creepy, to be honest. That is because of the face. I don't know why, but it has kind of like a human-looking face. Maybe the expression, I don't know. But it looks pretty cool. It reminds me of the manticore, which is a different mythological creature, but still pretty cool. I guess the one thing that kind of is bothering me is that the wings are cut off at certain places, and that looks a bit like mm, not really well thought out, I would say. So that's a little bit bothering me. But other than that, I think it's a very cool piece overall.
Hmm. I will say, yeah, like going off like the idea of the Sphinx, like if this is a completely like original character design for a Sphinx, I think they did a really good job. I really do like the kind of texture colors that they have going on in the wings here for the Sphinx. Like gives like this prismatic feel to it, to their feathers. And I just like the glowing effect that the Sphinx has going on. So, you know, I don't know if this is like a character design that already exists, but if it isn't, kudos to them. Let's go on. Nathaniel, let's talk about our kitsune again. And I promise, Christina, I did not plan for you to talk about another kitsune, but you're here now. So go ahead, Nathaniel.
Yeah, this one like immediately jumps out as being like a really cool composition. I like how kind of with all the different tales, there's a lot to look at, and it's all kind of centered pretty well with the dark background kind of framing it. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say other than just it looks really cool. I like, the way the white and pink really pops, and yeah, I think this is really strong image.
Awesome. Christina?
Yeah, I also really like this image. I think the pinkish color looks very cool here. Very cool looking okami. I believe that's a wolf creature. I don't know if that's a kitsune or if it's like this wolf demon from Japanese mythology.
Mm,
What I don't really like is the character in the foreground, like this woman or this person. She looks kind of misplaced, to be honest. Maybe also because she looks fairly stiff. The pose looks a little bit awkward, and I think it would be a stronger image without the woman, or maybe if she would have been rendered a bit differently. She looks a little bit out of place here, but all in all, it's a very like soothing picture. I would say it looks very calm, and that's what I like about it.
You know, I didn't even think about that before when you said it could be a Kutsune, but you know it could be the Okami, and I can't help but think about the Okami from the Okami games.
Yeah.
That very 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 strong resemblance there. Now that you point that out, but yeah, okay, let's go down to our final matchup in Team Afternoon. Let's do
Um,
Art by Connor. Oh, you want to stop it here?
yeah, yeah, just in case, because we only have like what 3 minutes in here.
3 minutes
So yeah, so
makes sense.
if you guys could go ahead, I sent the link in the chat. So if you guys can hop on to the third room, I'll meet you there.
Sounds
All
good.
right,
Alrighty.
see ya.
Okay. All right, guys, and apologies, with this whole setup that we have. Unfortunately, I don't have Fred um, making this room and joining this room. Otherwise, we would have had this whole session and not having to, switch rooms. But hopefully, next time, next week, we can get Fred on here, and we can have a full session. So let me see here. Let's get everyone back in the room.
Hello.
Hello. Ding
How
dong.
ba-
Okay. All right. We are still live, just so you guys know. So.
Fantastic.
You mean for me
Fantastic.
not to say my full address?
Uh,
No. Okay.
well,
So
hope you
everything's
guys
good?
enjoyed that intermission. Yeah, I'm all good. Everybody
Every
else is good. So,
everyone was
I'm
able
good.
everyone was able to go to the bathroom in a minute.
Yeah,
We're all
my
good.
Oh
PC
yeah.
crashed like out of
Like
nowhere.
10 seconds.
well then, I guess that's a sign that we should probably get Michael's input on these next two ones. From Art by Connor from India and Venice Draws Art from the U.S. Looks like we have another Medusa going on and another dragon. So, you know what? Let's do Michael and let's do Val. So,
Yeah, I really like the texture here and the line work of like Medusa's hair with the snakes. I think that's really effective. And I really like the color palette of like this gold and green and red. I think that's really appealing. Good use of blurring in the background to separate it. I like the edge lighting that's white right here. Anatomy looks pretty good. Overall, I really like this piece.
yeah, it is very strong. Val?
Basically everything that Monitor said. I really love the way that they rendered everything, the line work, the gold. I love the way that the gold is rendered on this one. I talked about rendering gold on another illustration. This is what I was talking about. Being able to actually see the depth in the metal itself, I feel like is really important. And I feel like this artist really portrayed that it is metal.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the snakes look great.
And you love the color green, don't you?
I love green.
Yeah. Would you say that you're green with envy?
How do I leave this call?
All right. All right. Good night, everybody. Before that, let's talk about another green creature going on with this dragon. Michael, go ahead.
I just got a message saying Michael's computer crashed
Oh,
again.
please no.
Here, I'll go.
All right,
Make
go
sure
for it.
just in case. Green, more green. I feel that this piece could have been pushed a little bit more. I don't know if it was because of time constraints, but I just feel like there's no background. I don't feel like this piece was rendered that well. There's not a lot of depth to it. It feels like there's some highlights with the little streaks of light green. And a little bit of like the lighter yellow on like the underbelly and the neck. But overall, I feel like there could have been more details added and the rendering could have been tighter. Even if it was kept flat, I feel like the line art could have been neater to kind of represent like, hey, this flat line work with like not a lot of shading is intentional.
Yeah, I feel that. You know, and with Michael having a little bit of PC issues going on right now, Jackie, we're gonna have you step up to the plate to have one final comment on this picture.
Okay. Oh. Hello. Can you hear me now?
There, you, there, There you go.
There we go. Well, I mean, if you still want me to talk, Monitor's here. So if you still wanted,
uh, you know, Michael, you lost your chance. Sorry, buddy. Jackie, go ahead.
okay. Well, I would say this piece from Venus Draws. I remember when we were vetting the artists in the begin before this competition even began, and I saw this artist's portfolio. They did a lot of humans, and I thought their anime humans were very well drawn, and I thought I still think they're very talented. I was a little bit surprised with this piece. Maybe they're just not used to drawing animals or creatures, and that's might be what it is, or they just didn't have a lot of time to do this. But I really would have liked to see more effort, I think, put on this piece. More a lot more rendering, with what their art normally looks like. Um, yeah, I mean, I like the dragon. I like the how its tongue is slithering out. I like the greens. But yeah, I would have liked to seen more with this piece. I would say.
Now, it's important that I think that you actually got to speak on that and really sing the artist's praises, because I think that's a perfect example about what this competition is about pushing boundaries, pushing your comfortability level with your art. If you're comfortable drawing humans all the time, and nothing's wrong with that. You have very strong art drawing humans, but then you get thrown into this competition where we're asking you to do something else, and the product is this, which no offense, it's not very strong. I like it's very weak in terms of line art, and you know it's 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 unfortunate, but also the point of the competition is that we are testing your ability to work outside of your comfort zone, and it just shows, like that. Okay, now I might not be able to win this competition because I was put into a circumstance that I'm not very comfortable with. But what does that tell you? That you need to go back, kind of, practice other things now, just to be more well-rounded as an artist. You can't stay in your comfort zone forever. And we lost Michael again, unfortunate.
Now, I will
But
say there are plenty of artists out there on Instagram or on ArtStation who only draw specific things. Like there's artists out there who only draw
mhm,
women. They don't draw men. There's artists who only draw humans. They don't draw animals. That's not
mhm,
being able to draw other things is a plus, and I think most artists should be able to draw other things, but it's also preference. Maybe that's just what the
mhm.
artist enjoys. That's what the artist is good at. You know, yeah, but to your
This is very
point,
true.
it's unfortunate, how this piece came out compared to what the artwork and the level of quality that they normally produce, but
Mhm.
I hope this artist is able to make a round two for sure.
Alrighty. So with that, I don't think Michael will be joining us for some voting, but we'll try. We'll see how long it takes him to.
Yeah, no, his PC isn't coming on at all now.
Oh,
Oh,
geez,
Yeah,
Louise. Okay.
like it's
Well,
bad.
that's
I mean,
unfortunate.
everything's fine.
Yeah.
Monitor's here. Hello,
could it
monitor.
could someone message him and tell him if he could try to hop on his phone?
Yeah, let's do
Oh,
that.
that's
Let me
that's
see.
that's a good idea. But we won't take too long. Hopefully, he'll be able to join through his phone. And we'll get some votes in for you guys. Don't worry, we will still tally up his votes for you, so you guys can get all those tasty, tasty votes. But I'm gonna have a sip of water while we wait.
I should probably have some water too. That's a good idea.
Oh yeah, water. ASMR stream, everyone.
Hydration.
Drinking water.
Okay, well, with that, we'll start up with the first round of voting, and let's see. So we have the Kraken versus the Leviathan, uh, and the Dragon from Dragon Maid. So let's see, Christina, who do you got backing in this fight?
I choose the Dragon Maid.
Ooh, interesting. I wonder if there's any bias there. Have you watched Dragon Maid?
I never watched that show, but it looks just cool, so I go with it.
Fair enough. Christina on the back, everybody.
Yeah.
Dragon Maid. Nathaniel.
Yeah, the Dragon Maid.
Okay, nice. Val.
Dragon Maid.
Ooh.
I don't know anything about it, but I like the piece.
Jackie, the words from Fred.
For matchup 1.
For matchup 1, yeah.
Okay. So Fred voted for Moo on.
That's the Dragon Maid, yeah.
Yeah.
Muon. Awesome. And yeah, I too will give it to our Dragon Maid friend. As I was actually pretty torn on this one, I'll be honest. I did kind of want to go for this, the Kraken versus the Leviathan, because I think they really did go out of their way to not even draw one creature, but two. But the piece just felt a little static to me. But yeah, and we'll get Michael's vote when he comes back. But let's move on to matchup 2. So we have the Kitsune versus Sukuna and Kyubi from Naruto. Jackie, let's start with Fred's vote. Let's see.
Sure. So Fred voted for Son dot Chapo.
Yeah, Don Chapo. So we got the Sukuna and Kyubi.
Mm-hmm.
Val?
This one was so difficult. But if I had to pick one, it would have to be Sun Chapo.
All right. Nathaniel.
Son Chapo.
Oh, Christina.
It's nothing personal.
Oh, it took me a little bit. I thought you were going to continue your sentence there.
Me too. I thought you were gonna say it's nothing personal, but I choose this guy.
Yeah. Took me a little bit.
Ooh.
Michael, I'm so glad that you could join us again, buddy. But we're on matchup 2, so we'll get your matchup 1 vote and your matchup 2 vote here. So.
Yeah, for round 1, I'm voting for the Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and then for
Okay.
round 2, the Kitsune from It's Nothing Personal.
Ooh, we got a 2-3 split, and I'm going to vote for Son Chapo for round 2.
So is that
All right.
is that
And
is that a 3-4 split
it's a
then?
4-2.
4-2.
4-2 split, yeah.
Okay.
All right. This one I feel will be a little bit easier amongst us. So let's go for matchup 3, Abed_dog versus Pharaoh_draws. What do we got going on, Michael?
I'm going to go for the Medusa.
Fantastic. Val?
You gotta make sure that it's readable to all audiences. Pharaoh Draws got my vote.
All right. Nathaniel?
I would actually vote for Abba Dog, just because
Okay.
the atmosphere and the colors. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Christina?
Medusa.
All right. And Jackie, the word from Fred.
Fred voted for Pharaoh Draws, and then he also left a note. He said, let me find it. Just give me a moment. He said, not sure what the other image was supposed to be, referring to Abadog. Uh, was it supposed to be mythology? So I know we already kind of discussed this, but I think what Fred's referring to here is he voted for Pharaoh Draws because he didn't understand the what was going on in Abadog's piece. So he went for Pharaoh Draws, who more followed the prompt. So
Yeah, followed the rules. No, don't get it twisted. Both artworks I think are very strong. Um, they're both very strong artists, and they both have their styles. But just for the rules, I'm gonna have to give it to Pharaoh Draws. Um, but we'll see if Abadog's artwork is so strong that they still get enough votes to continue on through. So I guess we'll see. But with that, let's move on to matchup 4. We have our Gorgon versus our Satyrs and Seraphs. Probably pronouncing that wrong, but that's fine. So let's start off with Val.
It's pronounced Seraph. No, I'm joking.
Okay.
I think I have to go for Curls for Brains. Uh, complete peace. I mean, we're on a clock, but at the end of the day, if you're drawing one person and you couldn't get that done by the end of the week, I mean, it's tough, but that just means you have to focus on your skills to get something done like that faster. Because the better you get at drawing, I mean, the faster the process is for you.
Mm-hmm.
So
And to
Curls for
that
Brains.
point, yeah, to that point, right? Like it's working in the industry, not just comics, entertainment in general. You are always on a clock, right? You have to meet these deadlines. So it's not only a test of skill, but it's a test of time management.
Exactly.
Christina.
Curls.
All right. Jackie, give us the word from Fred.
So, Fred, for this matchup, he voted for Curl for Brains.
Mm-hmm. And Nathaniel.
Yeah, same. Curls for Brains.
Michael.
Curls for Brains.
And I am also Curls for Brains. And I like the piece too. Nobody got that joke. That's fine. We'll move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Yeah. Let's do this necromancer death kind of stag thing from The Witcher. I'll keep on calling it versus the Phoenix. Christina.
I go with the death thingy.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Michael.
Yeah, also the death thingy.
Nathaniel.
Yeah, death thingy.
Val.
Death.
Jackie.
The Sunshine. Robin Art 04.
Ooh, interesting. I'm also going for the death thingy.
Oh.
So we got
Oh, sorry.
I
guess Fred left a note for this one as well.
Mm-hmm.
He said for this for matchup 5. Oh, wait a minute. Oh. Okay, so he said he thought the other piece was too dark. So that's why he voted for Robin Art. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm also going to go for the death thingy though. So we have a 5-1 split going on. Moving on to matchup 6, the Phoenix versus another Medusa. Let's start with Nathaniel.
This one's actually really close for me. I really like the Medusa one, but I'm gonna vote for the Phoenix Peter Draws.
Cool. Michael.
Peter Draws.
Val.
Peter Draws.
Christina.
The Phoenix.
The Phoenix. And Jackie.
The Peter Draws. Yeah, Fred voted for Peter Draws.
And I'm also voting for Peter Draws, despite me thinking that, this was a pose that I've seen time before. I do still think that the artwork is a bit stronger than the other one. But moving on. Uh, the Sphinx versus the Okami or Kitsune in matchup 7. Jackie, let's start off with Fred's vote.
Yeah, Fred voted for Kayla Dennis art, the Kitsune.
Ooh, interesting. Does he have a note about that?
He didn't leave a
No?
note, not this time.
Interesting. Val.
For me, it was Kayla Dana's art.
Ooh,
Yes.
nice. Nathaniel.
This is really hard for me actually, but I think I'm gonna go with Hector the artist.
All right. Christina.
I go with Kayla.
Oh, it's a 3-1 split. Michael.
This is hard for me too. I think I'm gonna go with Hector.
I'm also going with Hector. It's down the middle. We have a 3-3. That's pretty neat. I couldn't get over the design of this Sphinx. I really liked it. But yeah, moving on. Let's do the last and final matchup. The Gorgon versus the Dragon. The mean green fighting machines. Val, you get to start this one.
Team Green. I want to go with art by Connor.
All right. Jackie.
Fred voted for art by Connor.
All right. Nathaniel.
Art by Connor.
Christina.
Art by Connor.
Michael.
Art by Connor.
And I am for the No, I'm not. Art by Connor.
That's
Bruh.
mean. Don't do that.
That
Don't
was
do the
not
leading
cool.
I know. I'm sorry.
Okay, just for
And
that,
it
just
was-
for that, I should change Fred's vote to the
Oh.
dragon Venus. I'm gonna change his vote for Venus Straw so she can have a vote because
I,
gonna
You
get
know
you.
what?
Should we really
Yeah.
be wagering Fred's vote though?
we're playing with fire here, and this is where I need to run. But before I do, thank you all for joining me today on the part 2 of round 1 of March Art Madness. Really strong entries. It really does hurt to see a lot of strong artists have to be kicked out from 64 going all the way down to 32. It's very, very tough to watch. But there can only be one winner, so you guys got to go. But thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Val. Thank you, Nathaniel. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Michael. So round 1 will be ending today, I believe, Jackie, and they will be announced tomorrow. And round 2 will also be on tomorrow. So you guys will have a full week to go on, and the cycle continues. Prepare for pain.
Non-stop gauntlet.
Yeah,
exactly.
Pain Austin, you're receiving some pain in the YouTube comments. So, yeah.
Am I?
Yes.
What did I do?
I mean, that was pretty mean, to be honest. So.
He's got to write the twit longer.
You should
I
probably
mean, that's fair.
apologize to the artist if you get
I'm
the
sorry.
chance, Austin.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to keep everybody on their toes. I mean nothing but love.
Go beat up Austin.
What? Okay, fine.
It's okay, Austin. We accept your apology. It's fine.
Would it help if I cried?
Yes.
Okay. Water over there. Okay. Here we go. Okay.
It was foul.
All right, guys.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure. Any last thoughts from anybody here?
Yeah, the Saturday AM physical manga volumes are available right now for pre-order, so make sure to check them out.
Go get them.
Awesome.
Might even get some cards.
I'm not an addict.
No, I definitely don't need more cards. I definitely am not purchasing 2 copies of each book. No, that's wild.
All right. 2 cop. Wait a minute. Okay. And
Step
with
your
that,
game up. Step your game up.
I'll just fight you for the cards.
I bet.
Not a big deal. Anything else, Nathaniel, Jackie, Christina?
Yeah, I just I wanted to say that everyone who participated in today's event, you all did a fantastic job. We appreciate all the effort that you put into these pieces. I know there was like a time constraint, like you only had like 5 days to do it, but you guys really put in the best that you could with what you were given. So I just want to say thank you for just being in this event and being a part of this group where we're all trying to be supportive and stuff. And I also want to say thank you to people kind of setting up the website and everything. Like they're also working very hard to pull this event together. And thank you for you guys for joining and watching. I do want to say, for those of you who won't be able to make it to round two, just hang back. There's a chance that you were selected to win a small prize, so you guys could be receiving a small prize for the artwork that you did produce. Um, and I'd also like to invite you guys to participate in our next event in April. It's called Summer of Manga. If you guys have an idea for a comic or a manga that you'd like to pitch to us, then this is the event to do it. Once you pitch it to us, we review it. And if we like it, we like your art, we like your story, then we'll hit you back up and we'll try to get together with you to have it published in the magazine during the event. And if it does well with the audience, then we'll talk about having it serialized in our magazine as a regular manga title. I know, for example, one of the, or actually, 3 artists in this group: Monitor Comics, Nathaniel, and Val. Oh, and Christina. All of you guys, I
Oh
believe,
wow.
joined Saturday AM through Summer of Manga. So, if that is a source of inspiration for you guys watching to join Saturday AM, I don't know what is. So, I just wanted to point that out. You guys are welcome. All of you guys are welcome to join our event for next month.
And just like these folks, through Summer of Manga, you'll have the pleasure of working with me and hearing all my bad jokes and my bad puns. So,
Mhm.
let that be an incentive
Awesome.
for
We
you.
want them to sign up.
What is that supposed to mean? All right. No, thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. And I look forward to doing this again, perhaps in the next week, where we will look at the next 32 who have went on. So be sure to vote tonight. Ends tonight. Be sure to
Yes.
pre-order those books. And yeah, stay frosty, everybody.
Frosty.
Bye bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye,
Hope
guys.
you'll have
Thank
a
you.
lovely
Taylor.
Sunday.
Bye.
Work hard.
Bye.